Hello and welcome to the 2014 World Rally Championship, Day 2 of Rally Monte Carlo, the opening round of the season, which features 13 events, including a welcome return for Rally Poland, Wales Rally GB wrapping things up once again. The two opening days of Rally Monte Carlo have been based around Gap in the Haute Alpes. Day 3 and the rally will head south, taking in two passes over the infamous Col de Turini and a service in Monte Carlo itself. Well, the action got underway yesterday in typical Monte conditions, a challenging mix of dry tarmac, ice and snow in the early morning darkness. Mads Osberg showing just how difficult the conditions were, a lucky escape for the Norwegian. Mixed conditions, mixed fortunes for young Welshman Elfyn Evans, struggling early on in the dark and those slippery conditions.
Left on at 40.
On a brighter note, he did at least have two winter tyres in the boot, and he put them to good effect in stage 3 with a second fastest stage time, putting the Welshman up in 5th. One driver who wouldn't make it through the opening stage though, Belgian Thierry Neuville. Runner-up in last season's championship, he was off the road and out of the running on his first competitive stage in the new Hyundai i20.
Yeah, we have to retire there, so it's obviously not what we wanted, not what the job we had to do.
And there was more bad news for the new Hyundai team after stage 4. Just after moving into an impressive third place, Spaniard Dani Sordo ground to a halt on the road section. He too was out, and with no Super Rally here in Monte, Hyundai's rally was already over. All eyes were on world champion Sébastien Ogier, born locally in Gap, but a wrong tyre choice by the VW man caught out on the unexpectedly snowy roads, and he was well off the pace in the opening loop. The surprise of the first morning, Robert Kubica, the former Formula 1 star, stunning the rally elite to win the opening 2 stages. But he too would be caught out by the surprise snowfall in stage 3, losing a minute and a half. The combination of slick tyres and fresh snow simply do not mix. Chris Meek, like Elfyn Evans, carried a pair of winter tyres in the boot, which he duly bolted on to help him blast into second place, a position he held overnight. But the surprise packet on day 1, local privateer Brian Bouffier. The Frenchman has pedigree on these treacherous roads, winning at Monte in a non-WRC round 3 years ago. Another to opt for a pair of winter tyres and producing a stunning drive. So, Bouffier, the surprise leader after the opening day, followed by Meek and Kubica. World champion Ogier, 4th, 47 seconds behind, but don't write him off. Evans going well in 6th, Hervenen less happy in 8th. Well, before the crews go anywhere, they first need to make that critical choice of selecting which tyres to use. Today looking to be slightly simpler than yesterday, with the rain being the biggest concern, but this being Monte Carlo, the conditions here notoriously unpredictable. For the rally leader, Bouffier, secrecy is the word.
Brian Bouffier, that was a long conversation with Malcolm Wilson. What have you decided for day 2 of the famous Monte Carlo rally?
Oh, we were not talking about the car. We were just joking. So no, we are talking about the day, you know, to trying to keep going, and also with the tire choice, because it's not so easy. Because, you know, most of the drivers now are choosing slick tires, but it can quickly change with the weather conditions. So that's why it's a bit difficult.
Choice made. Here's what faces the crews today. 5 stages approaching almost 180 competitive kilometres. The first 4 run in daylight, the last in the dark. This rally doesn't get any easier. Time now to join our commentator. It's hello to John Desborough.
Hello again, everybody. Stage 7. And depending on how your Monte Carlo is going, this one is either very good or very bad news. Lovely to see you. Let me explain. If your car's bang on the money and your confidence is high, then this monster is where you can go for it. But if the opposite's true, it can't finish quickly enough. The former is the case for world champion Sébastien Ogier, on his way to winning this opening stage by a massive 35.6 seconds.
Into flat left.
Welshman Elfyn Evans has been very sensible on this Monte Carlo. That's what his team boss, Malcolm Wilson, told us last night.
Right over crest into 4 left tight.
His reward is 6th place. But if ever there was a place to be really, really sensible, then this was it. On these icy patches, we can hardly see them. Elfyn can't see too much more, and he needs to be sensible and much more. Fearless Robert Kubica is having no trouble building up speed on this, the longest stage on the event this year, but that speed stuff can be lethal when his car hits ice. And all that built-up speed can be difficult to get rid of if he brakes late on the ice. In 3rd place overnight, this is now turning into a real challenge. But just for a second, let's leave him and now return to Ogier, the world champion, slower than Kubica yesterday. And Ogier's motto now is attack, but not at any cost. He's on the same tyres as Kubica, the super slick Michelin, so he's got no advantage there. So the way to outdo him is to use his better experience and listen carefully to co-driver Julian Ingrassia.
On the blacktop it's crazy, it's like on ice, so for sure the car is very nervous on this section and sometimes we have some big slide, but we are here.
It's more of a level playing field today with everybody on the same tyre choice. But is the novelty beginning to wear off for Robert Kubica? Let's put the clocks up and try and find out where he's suffering in comparison to Ogier. And he is suffering already. Ogier's time in green, Kubica in red. Ogier flew through here in 1/10 of a second over 29 minutes. And we are watching here Robert Kubica drop a place down to 4th. Right behind that little dogfight, Chris Meek, whose career in this sport was accelerated by the approval of the 1964 Monte Carlo winner, Paddy Hopkirk, who's also from Northern Ireland. It took Hopkirk days just to get here back then. Meek's time against Kubica and Ogier is going to be clocked in 10ths of seconds.
Early flat, 6 right.
Ogier was 8.5 seconds behind. But look at this. Meek has also been eclipsed by the mighty Sébastien Ogier.
To the wedge of finishing the slow, 5 right minus and 4 left.
Chris Meek drops from 2nd to 3rd place.
Chris, Ogier's on a mega push, but you've taken good time out of Kubica. That's not a bad thing.
4 seconds over 50 Ks is not a lot, to be honest. Incredibly slippery on the blacktop. It's like black ice. Okay, you can see it, but in the faster sections, it can catch you out. It only takes 1 square meter patch of shiny and it can put you off the road. So, yeah, the tires are working really well everywhere else, but on this blacktop, oh, yeah, it's tricky.
And Ogier's mega push will just be reaching this man, Brian Bouffier, rally leader, the last man to tackle this marathon stage. Seems strange to some here that this former French rally champion is only a test driver at Hyundai and entered here as a privateer. And his principal sponsor is one of France's biggest poultry suppliers. You can see where I'm going here. Because after everything that he's done this weekend, he's still got everybody in a flap. Ooh, mind you, even he's having trouble with this slippy tarmac that Chris Meek was talking about. But Brian Bouffier's rally lead is down to 35.6 seconds.
Thanks, John. So the surprise overnight leader is still that. Bouffier, the man to catch, but Sébastien Ogier, the big man on the move today. Up from 4th to 2nd, he has Bouffier firmly in his sight. VW teammate Latvala also on the way up, overtaking Evans for 6th. We are up and running, but the fun and games have only just begun. Plenty of off-road antics coming up next. We'll explain what's happened here in just a moment. Rally Monte Carlo Day 2, the first part of which unfolds in and around Rally HQ in Gap, the capital of the Haute-Alpes region of France. Gap, incidentally, the birthplace of WRC world champion Sébastien Ogier, and was voted the most popular major sporting city in France last year. Rally Monte Carlo moves this afternoon, the crew's heading 250 kilometres south to the Principality, arguably the most famous motorsport venue in the world. OK, back to the Day 2 action now with John.
So Sébastien Ogier is now up to 2nd place. And here, on stage 8, there's a sting right in the tail. You'll see why in 22.68 kilometres. And it is going to give this man, Norway's Mads Osberg, a real scare. 6th on the road this morning. A later start than yesterday, but since that early alarm, Mads has found it difficult breaking into the event's top 4. Everything is nice and well behaved until, that is, the flying finish and the stop board come into view. Flat out, crossing the line, and then this happens. Wow! This is it again. You have to admire the fan for keeping the camera rolling. Bearing in mind, this is what was bearing down on him.
The stop on the time control is far too close to the finish. I was flat over the finish, and it's totally shiny tarmac and aquaplaning, so I choose to go off the road. If not, I would crash straight into whoever was here in front of me.
And he's not the only one, because Sébastien Ogier seems to have identified this place as the one to put the rally leader under a bit of pressure. A place to eat into that 35-second lead. But, hold tight. As Ogier approaches the flying finish, he too has to take evasive action. That makes 2 of them. Well, he's calm under pressure. I don't know if he's had a bit of farming experience in his time, but the moment is captured forever, and it's another example of quick thinking, this time by the Frenchman. I think he'll have something to tell the organisers at the end of that. Will you look at that? Full speed, over the flying finish, and who's in front of him? Lots of people and cars, no wonder.
When I have my time, it's completely crazy. We are just after the finish line.
So on to Robert Kubica, who's hanging in there. Hanging in there and striking back, and wasting no time in making up time that he's just lost to Chris Meek. But despite his efforts, he stays in 4th place. Just. Like Kubica, Brian Bouffier has decided not to use the snow tyres, so no need to get into any kind of cross-driving. But he finds the car goes well on these super slicks nonetheless. Good idea then to leave the winter tyres in the boot. Bouffier's good here. He beats Ogier's time by 0.2 of a second and extends his lead by a whisker.
As I decided to put 4 slicks, it was not easy, but not bad. We did a good time, so it was a good choice.
So the battle of the 2 Frenchmen continues. Bouffier still refusing to read the script, maintaining that 35-second lead over the world champion. Less than a second between Chris Meek and Robert Kubica. The experienced Finns Latvala and Hirvonen split by rookie Welshman Elfyn Evans at the midway stage of Rally Monte Carlo. Straight back to the action then. Here's John.
Stage 9, and this is where the organisers double the jeopardy, because this is chosen as a stage to be broadcast to the world live. You wouldn't want to mess up here. Watch how Sebastian Ogier, mind you, plays to the crowd. But we start with teammate Jari-Matti Latvala. And once again, and we've said this before, you have to feel for him. Because it's in this stage that the Finn clatters the edge of an access road and punctures a tyre on his polo. An instant decision is needed to stop and change or to soldier on. He has to stop, but this interruption is going to be costly. That's a nice little spot he's chosen. But rookie driver Elfyn Evans is right behind him, and he is on it as well, and about to get caught up in the fallout from that flat.
Don't cut 6 right sharp.
He passes the Finn there on the right-hand side, so that's Elfyn now into 6th place. But that's not the end of this particular drama. Oh no.
8 left over exit. 30.
Latvala has to do the fastest tyre change in France this weekend, and he gets going. About 90 seconds should have done that. Cool as you like, and he even gives his co-driver the chance to settle. That's nice. But look at this. Now, Latvala is on it, and that's Elfyn Evans up front, and Latvala is closing in. And this now becomes an early dilemma for the youngster from Wales. He slows 3 times to let the faster driver come past, but the Finn isn't there.
You've got to stop the lap ball if he's behind you.
Evans gets his orders.
Stop though. Keep your noise.
Evans argues back.
Long tightens is behind you. Need to stop. Into 4 right minus.
This is Latvala. He's swallowing the spray from the Fiesta. Eventually, Elfyn spots his moment and lets Latvala come through. But Elfyn Evans doesn't have to fret too much about that, because bigger problems are raining down on his other rivals, and here is the biggest one of the lot. From 4th place, the Pole, Robert Kubica, is about to check out of his Monte Carlo gamble early. Brake, no grip, understeer, bridge, bye-bye, Robert. No grip there, and down there, there's nothing but trees. And with the live cameras rolling on all of this, and the people from where he was born around him now watching him, Ogier takes his cue and records a blistering time. A blistering time, that is, that includes cutting a few corners himself. But doing so with great presence of mind. You don't become world champion without getting out of little corners like that. So, Bouffier has to respond. Brian Bouffier's had the lead since winning stage 3. But he spins in the stage. It's away from the cameras that are live on the event, and annoyingly, cleverly perhaps, no one sees it. But the Monte Carlo Rally has a new leader. And how? Look at the times. Brian Bouffier's 35-second lead is obliterated.
Brian, there's quite a lot of time loss. What's happened?
Yes, I spun once and I was in in some mud in a field, a very deep field, and so the spectator had to come and to push me out. So it's like this.
Another dramatic stage, and there it is, confirmation. Ogier is the new leader by 11 seconds. Mads Osberg benefiting from Kubica's demise, moving up to 4th. Evans and Andreas Mikkelsen both double gaining after Latvala's puncture, now 5th and 6th respectively. Monte Carlo proving a menace as ever, and more problems to come. Spectators called in to lend a hand next as another WRC star goes a-wandering. It's the opening round of the 2014 World Rally Championship, and the Monte Carlo Rally is proving a big challenge for the world's elite drivers and the WRC's leading support series. Yuri Protasov continues to lead the WRC 2 category at the end of day 2, but the Ukrainian, a touch lucky to still be in the race for maximum points after a puncture cost him 2 minutes in the opening stage. Lorenzo Bertelli was in contention for the lead at one stage, but he was also slowed with brake problems, all of which allowed Ireland's Michael Barabel to sneak into second on the day's final test, a remarkable turnaround for the 26-year-old who'd started the day in fourth, over 3 minutes behind that second place. So, Protasov keeping his cool in the afternoon to move back into the top spot. Now the best part of 7 minutes ahead of Barabel, with Bertelli just 22 seconds behind the Irishman. Back to the main event now, and John.
Water, water everywhere. You know, it's much easier when the water does this and goes down rivers, but not as exciting as when it flows down the roads, if you know what I mean. Now, there are 3 VWs on this Monte Carlo rally. One's just got the lead, another just got a puncture, and this is the third. Driven by Andres Mikkelsen of Norway, and he's got problems on a rare section of snow-covered Monte Carlo road. And these are going to be time-consuming problems. An otherwise harmless little understeer off the road, drop him 2 places to 8th. And require a lot of assistance from the fans. Slow into the corner, and slow out the corner as well. Now, don't get confused. This is the second of the polos. It's Jari-Matti Latvalas, who's not enjoying driving on that new spare wheel. He's faster than Elfyn Evans here. He wins that particular duel again. But because of a moment like this, he drops 43.8 seconds to, you've guessed it, the new rally leader, his teammate Sébastien Ogier, who pulls out even more stops and drives away from Brian Bouffier. All of that is happening above Chris Meek on the leaderboard. Meek is in 3rd place and very, very unlikely to think about rolling the dice again unless he really, really has to. There's no point risking an appearance on the podium just for trying to join in the French skirmish. Now, what's this? Well, sunset today was at 22 minutes past 5. The final stage of the day, this is it, starts at 6. You know what that means. At night, if you can see, these roads have a haunting characteristic and look twice as dangerous as they do during the daylight. And realising that less is more when you can't even see the black ice that threatens to put you out of the event, Ogier backs off a little. Jari-Matti Latvala wins this stage, and Ogier's move works. Because his only threat, Bouffier, backs down 2. They both make it through the stage, but Bouffier has relaxed so much that Ogier's lead is now over 51 seconds.
Another great day by Ogier, from 4th to 1st.
Yeah, this day was much better than yesterday. But the most important is now we cover the 2 first days of Monte Carlo. We are in the lead. Tomorrow it looks like it's going to be again a difficult one with maybe snow on the Turini and hopefully not so much slush on the road before the snow. But up to now, can be happy.
And so he should be. After a day of high drama, normal service has been resumed. The world champion has a big lead ahead of Bouffier. Meek, in turn, is well adrift in 3rd. Latvala back up to 5th after winning stage 11. A word too for Elfyn Evans. He'll start the final leg in 6th, just 10 seconds behind Volkswagen's number 2 and ahead of Hervenen and Mikkelsen. And that's it. There's one more day to go. It will be another monster. 2 runs through the mighty Col de Turini to come. Hope you can join John Desborough and myself, Kevin Piper, for that tomorrow.